Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WITV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. Hey, friends, will you join me for just a minute and imagine how amazing you'd feel living the unique and distinct life that you were put on this planet to live, doing work you love, with people you love, in places you love, and all the while creating something of real value for others. Well, that's what I call a life of significance. And I can tell you it makes for a very happy life. And so can my friend Colby Balch. And he's here to share his unique and distinct journey to his life of significance. But before we bring him on, I'd like to share a poem that we created to thank him for being our guest star today. It's called Soaring Without Limits. And it goes like this: From Stanford halls to vast blue skies, a trapeze artist with daring flies, soaring through life, both free and bold, with a fearless heart and a spirit of gold. In Blue Ridge peaks, his passions grow, firefly's music's heartfelt glow, coaching with light, not just with might, guiding souls to their truest height. So tune in now. Don't miss this spark on something significant. You'll feel his heart. Colby's story will lift and inspire a life of joy fueled by inner fire. Hey, Colby, welcome to the show.
Wow. If I had any idea that that's how we were going to start this off, uh, and I'm glad I didn't, because it's that unexpected surprise that makes it so magical and delightful. But thank you from the bottom of my heart. That is a way to start off an interview. And I feel inspiration. Like, what a beautiful gift. That is a beautiful gift. And I felt it directly from your heart directly to mine. Thank you for that. Huge
Wonderful.
thing.
All right. All right. Well, get us started by telling us what you're doing these days to make your mark of significance on the world.
Yeah. Thank you for that invitation. And one of the greatest joys for me in my life recently has been realizing that the very best and most important, in fact, the key essential ingredient in the way that I can show up to bring joy into my life and into the world at the same time is simply to become more and more acquainted with myself, my authentic self,
Yep.
and to get to the roots of who I am and to simply be me. And it sounds so simple, and yet can be the most challenging and difficult path to follow and to arrive at.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something that there's many points along the journey that have helped me get to this place where I am today. One of those turning points that was essential for me was reading a book entitled The Courage to Be Disliked.
Yeah. Good.
And just the title, like not
Yeah.
even reading that book, just hearing the title and understanding, well, what kind of questions does that bring up? The courage to be disliked. Well, wait, does that mean I'm afraid of being disliked? And if
Yeah.
I'm afraid of being disliked, what does that mean? How does that affect my behavior? And just
Yeah.
and that thread, those threads of thought and imagination and exploration and curiosity really catapulted me on a journey of self-awareness and self-discovery that has taken me to places where now I'm available for service. I'm
Well, tell
available to joy, the joy of knowing myself and being myself in this world.
Yeah, yeah. So tell our audience about what you're doing in terms of your your rental cabin ownership, your music with Blue Ridge or with Firefly, and your coaching. Tell us what you're doing to bring your authentic self to the world and as service.
Yeah, thank you so much. So when I was at college in college at Stanford University, and I was studying economics, and there's sort of a funneling process directing people towards certain types of jobs. And when you would go to the job fair market, there was a stand for Accenture consulting. There was a stand for Morgan Stanley investment banking and Wall Street and et cetera, and Madison Avenue were well represented. And something in me didn't resonate with that. I've always experienced myself a bit as a bit unconventional, a bit of a black sheep.
So I want you to hold off on that until we get to our purpose section.
Okay.
And so let's start at the end, which is
Yeah.
what are you
Okay.
doing?
Yes.
Start at
I
the
like it.
end. I want who you are today, and then we're going to get into the
Yes.
purpose and discover how you got there.
Thank you. Thank you. That's perfect because I was starting to say why and how I got here. So
Yeah.
I'll start with where I am now is I am an owner of real estate, an investor in real estate, and I created a passive income flow in
Love it.
order to hire myself to do the job that I now do and provide myself an income that is independent of the work that I am currently doing. The
Yeah.
work that I am doing is showing up as love. I am opening myself up, making myself available to do God's work on earth, which is to be here, to be myself, and to be love. Now, if you peruse through the classified ads in your local newspaper, or if you go onto monster.com, you might not find anyone is hiring and offering a six-figure salary for the job of being me, being you, and bringing love and light into the world, which is, I think, honestly kind of sad. And I imagine if our government spent the budget it does for the military, if it's spent on hiring people to simply bring light and love into the world, we wouldn't need a military. So I hired myself. Since no one else was hiring that job, I created the company that would hire myself to do the job of bringing light and love and peace and grace into this earth and bringing Colby, the essence of Colby. So the essence of Colby is a message of self-awareness, of liberation, of being a creator and not a victim, of being joyful, of choosing that which feels good. And part of one way that I do that is in music. I love bringing live music to the world. I love hosting concerts and events that people can gather together and celebrate life and the vivaciousness, the vitality, the vibrational frequency of life. So organizing concerts, bringing people together. Yeah.
So that's Firefly music.
That's Firefly music. And I created that in Blue Ridge, Georgia, because there wasn't that much live music. I was driving down to Atlanta or up to Nashville to hear artists that I wanted, that I longed, that I connected with the music, and I felt a passion for their music. Well, it turned out that one of my former partner's lake house rental cabins, I had listed it on Airbnb, and an artist, a singer named Ron Pope, who has a beautiful song, A Drop in the Ocean, which has so many, beautiful, portentous meanings. He wrote to me and said, "Hey, I'd like to bring my band to Blue Ridge, Georgia, and stay at this cabin and rent it out for 2 weeks. And we'd like to bring all of our equipment, and we're going to rehearse for an upcoming nationwide tour and music festival. And I promise we won't be the typical rock stars. We won't destroy the house." And I was like, this is awesome. And I was so excited. And they brought a whole truck full of equipment and decked out the cabin with all of this, microphone cables and guitars and all of the accoutrements. They even turned one of the bathrooms into a recording studio, with duct tape and everything. And I got the idea from him. I was like, wow, well, if an artist, a really well-known artist, is willing to pay money to come to Blue Ridge and stay here, what if I could offer to other artists to come to Blue Ridge on vacation and do an intimate cabin acoustic concert for a relatively lower price in terms of money, but a much, much higher value in terms of experience? Because I have lived my life according to experience rather than dollars. I, in fact, turned down and stayed away from six-figure jobs to take a $500 a month job working for Club Med to have the experience. So it was creating these music experiences.
That's how Reese's peanut butter cups got created. It was an accident that mashed together peanut butter and chocolate, and you were mashing together vacation rentals and music. Beautiful. Okay, I want you to do in less than a minute. Tell the
Yep.
audience about the book that you're writing.
So the book I'm writing is called No More Effing Around. And the secondary title of it is Overcoming Infidelity and Addiction to Find True Love. And it is a real life autobiography of my struggle with addiction, with what is called the hungry ghost, and learning to find true love inside myself that eradicated that addiction, that was seeking something that could only be found, seeking something outside that could only be found in me. And then finding it in myself, I'm now able to pour it out to others.
Very good. All right, thank you, Colby. Now let's do a little mathematics so our friends all around the world can get to know you through our happy formula. It's really
Yeah.
simple, but it's really powerful too, and it goes like this. Power plus purpose equals happy. So let's start with power. What are your personal practices for building up all the power that you need to get things done, whether it's physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, emotionally? In other words, what do you do on a regular basis to create the power you need to take excellent care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty left over so you can be a giver to others?
Thank you so much. I love this question. I wake up early. I go to bed early. I have deliberate time where I am not connected to the internet or to my phone. In fact, I frequently have my phone turned off. I deliberately put myself in a position to receive morning sunlight. I
Yep.
choose to eat in a healthy way that respects my body, my entire body. I occasionally do intermittent fasting, and which is spending up to 16 hours without eating so that my digestive system can reboot. I
Yep.
drink kombucha, I eat vegetables, I eat the rainbow. I think healthy thoughts. The first agreement in Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements, the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. And I
Yep.
choose to be impeccable with my word towards myself and towards others. For example, I use the words I choose to rather than I have to, or I should, or I need to. Another agreement, not taking things personally. I make an effort to not take things personally. I recognize that any judgment that I have or that others have is more a reflection of the person expressing the judgment than the person that they're expressing it of. And I challenge myself to not make assumptions and to question and challenge assumptions if I make them. I listen. I make an active effort to listen. When somebody is speaking, I make an active effort to listen to what they're saying without thinking of what my response will be, to hear what's alive in them rather than focusing on what's alive in me in response. So that's a few of the practices that I have.
Very good. Don't make assumptions. One of my favorite quotes is other people's opinion of you is none of your business. All right.
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
dig into my very favorite power generating concept. It's called a Kaizen state of mind. And it's this beautiful Japanese idea that small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results. And I love it because it's based on mindset, not circumstance. Kaizening life is knowing there's always something I can do better tomorrow than today. And for me, it creates this optimistic, gentle, but powerful and continuous uplifting of my life day after day after day. So, Colby, how does Kaizening your life help you increase your power to continuously become more so you can continuously give more?
Thank you. It's another beautiful invitation. The journey for me is one of constantly incrementally increasing my self-acceptance and my authenticity. And I recently took one of those coping styles mechanisms quizzes, and it came back with the result of masking and disconnecting, and recognizing that throughout life I was trained and I learned to put on masks and to disconnect from feelings. And that can often be an experience that men have in this world, especially sensitive men. And I consider myself a sensitive man. So unmasking and digging to the roots of who I really am and loving and accepting who I truly am, no matter what others might think, no matter what others' opinions, which are none of my business, and yet still a part of me had made them my business and was experienced fear around that. So being more and more open and authentic with myself to myself is a constant ongoing process that I would describe as you read the definition of Kaizen, that is every day I choose to add a molecule more, a gram more, an ounce more, a pound more, whatever amount is workable for my nervous system and for my sense of health and well-being, that I add a molecule, an ounce, a pound more of self-awareness, authenticity, and compassion all at the same time.
Yeah, very good. All right, now let's explore purpose. That's the second element of our happy formula. And I've observed that the big major life transformations, that discovery of purpose, often comes from devastation. Addiction, abuse, disease, death, disaster, something horrible strips a life to its core, often resulting in a big but unexpected change. However, in my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I share the transformational process that I've used to discover purpose of my life using inspiration. So how about you, Colby? Was there a specific moment or event or crisis or inspiration that revealed to you the God-given purpose you were meant to live?
Thank you. Yeah, there was a moment in my previous relationship with the mother of my three boys when, while we were semi-separated and still working on our relationship, she walked in on me with another woman.
So,
and
before you continue, how long were you married, and what are the ages of your boys?
We were not married. We were together for 7 years at that point. Our boys are now 11, and turning 10 next month in March.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. And so very closely grouped together. We started with twins, and we had a challenging relationship, and there was infidelity and dishonesty. My addiction to attention, to affirmation, chasing women and validation really undermined the relationship in many ways. And that's painful to say.
Yeah, yeah.
And I sure pointed the finger at her a lot, for this and that, and blamed her for all these things. And as a way of distracting from my own taking responsibility for my contributions to what I brought into that relationship. And this moment, this coming to Jesus moment was a slap in the face, like, oh man, what I am doing is creating a lot of repercussions and impacts and consequences, not only for myself, for people that I care about, for the woman who brought my children into this world, for my children themselves, for our community around us. And it was a real looking at myself in the mirror. And some people call a moment like that a dark night of the soul. But I recently learned a different way, heard a different way of expressing that. It's a dark night of the ego. And the dark night of the ego is what leads to the bright morning of the soul. The soul is like, thank goodness this is happening. It's not a dark night for the soul at all. It's a beautiful moment for the soul when the ego gets a little bit slapped in the face. And the ego serves an important role, and it's useful. It's a useful tool. And when it takes over certain areas of our life where it's not optimally, efficiently designed for, and it starts running the show in a way that's not beneficial for the soul, then it's eventually going to run into a concrete wall. And that's what happened for me. And that began this journey for me of becoming aware of the power that the hungry ghost had over me, the power that I was handing over, my power that I was handing over to this void, this empty bucket, this craving that is that underlies addiction, and what I was avoiding facing through those addictions. And finally letting go of that is what allowed me to kind of see what I had been hiding from for all that time.
So what was the catalyst for you when you recognized that you were living this way and it wasn't suiting you and it wasn't suiting others, and you decided that you were going to change your life? Where was that? What was that? What kind of fear did you have in that moment where am I going to be able to change? Am I going to be able to make amends? Because that's what our audience, I think many of us know we want our life to be better, but it's difficult to get through the rough times. So what was the catalyst that changed your life?
Yeah. So with regards to that same incident, it was then conversations with my boys. So shortly thereafter, my partner expressed to me that she was going to go to a party, an event with another man. And I was facing heartbreak over this, and I was expressing this to her, and our boys were in the apartment and they overheard this. And I was so bereft and grieving that I was thinking, I'm going to leave the Dominican Republic. I'm going to move somewhere else. I can't face this. And my boys were feeling that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that brought me back to the pain that I felt as a child, struggling with my own parents' difficulty with their relationship. And it surfaced this pain inside of me that I didn't want my children to continue to experience. And if I had the ability to reduce that for them, then maybe I couldn't go back in time and change that situation as I experienced it. But for dang sure, I could change that experience for my boys. And that formed a commitment and that purpose to do things differently. That's been my driving force.
That's great. And so you took your attention off of yourself and you put it on others. And you said, I've got to live a life that is worth following for my boys.
Yeah.
All right. That's great. Thank you for that, Colby. Now let's take a commercial break so our sponsor can spread a little love with our audience.
Are you ready to transform your life? At happyliving.com, we've discovered 4 keys to help you live with purpose, joy, and significance. Unlock your truth with the Happy Quiz. Unlock your happy formula with inspiring stories from the Something Significant Show. Unlock your roadmap to happiness with our free ebook, Making Your Mark of Significance. And unlock your inspired life with our life-changing e-course, The Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life. This is your time to shine. Go to happyliving.com now and click Unlock the Power of You. Unlock your power. Live your best life. happyliving.com.
And we're back, and this is the Something Significant Show, and I'm your host, Matt Gersper, and my special guest star today is Colby Balch. He's a fearless adventurer, transformational light coach, and professional flying trapeze artist on a mission to help others defy gravity in their own lives. Colby empowers clients to overcome fears, embrace joy, and live with authentic purpose. His insights on compassionate communication, joyful parenting, and personal growth inspire people to soar without limits and create lives bursting with connection and courage and freedom. Oh, Colby, I love that. And I think you're going to love this article that I found called The Science Behind the Power of Giving. It says that the act of giving itself can be the gateway to discovering your reason for being on the planet. The science tells us that giving our time, talents, and treasures is a powerful pathway to discovering purpose and overcoming difficulties and finding fulfillment and meaning in life. So I updated our formula. Power plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. So how about you, Colby? Has giving your time, talents, and treasure been a pathway for discovering your purpose and for getting past difficulties that you've faced and for bringing real meaning into your life?
Absolutely, 120%. I believe it's almost intentional to begin life with this me, and then to find our way away from that into it's no longer about me, it's about serving others. And the greatest joy is pleasure. I experience a lot of pleasure for myself in life, but there's a big difference between pleasure and happiness. And happiness comes serving others and giving freely, because my cup is so full that I love pouring it out to others. And that's fulfillment. That's eating a big, hearty, healthy meal rather than a sugary snack that tastes good in the moment, but leaves you still craving more and hungry.
Yeah, it's a much deeper feeling, and it's great because you're feeling it, but you're also whoever's receiving your gift is feeling it. So the science tells us that when we give to others, it brings real meaning to our lives, which you were just expressing, and the joy we feel from the fourth element of significance when we're doing work that creates values for others, that confirms it. But Colby, I've noticed that there's something more than just the giving. I believe that the real magic of life comes when you're giving from living in your purpose, because it creates a profound joy, not only for those receiving, but also for the giver too, because purpose comes from God. So, Colby, the audience and I would like to know how it makes you feel to be happily living your life and giving to others through the work you were put on this planet to do, and people all around you have taken notice. So, my friend, just sit back, open your heart, and have a listen to what people are saying about the impact that you're making on their lives by finding the magic of giving from living in your purpose. One person told me, Colby helped me overcome fears and enrich my connections, leading to a joyful life. Another person said, I love Colby's adventurous spirit and passion for people, nature, and living life to its fullest extent. Others said, transformative coaching, incredible insights on parenting and communication. Colby is a shining light who believes and sees the good in people and exudes positivity. I loved getting to know him through the years and have always enjoyed his existential outlook. Plus, what a trapeze artist he is. And finally, this person said, truly a life changing experience that I recommend wholeheartedly. So, Colby, how does all that incredible love make you feel?
Yeah, I'm drinking it in, and it's beautiful because, as you said, it comes from purpose. It comes from living my purpose. That I know that as a flying trapeze artist, I was eager for the audience's applause. As a giver of love connected to my purpose, the performance, the sharing, the giving, the living in my purpose is the reward. And the applause is like the cherry, the whipped cream on top, but it's not the goal. And the feedback that I heard you expressing reminds me that I am living in my purpose. I have found my power. I have reclaimed my power. And the immense joy that is inside me, those comments, that feedback, it reflects what I already know, what I already feel. And it feels really good.
Now, give us just a quick response. When you're living for yourself, my experience is it's there's more work involved. When you're living in your purpose, it's like wow, if I'm a musician, I can just pick up the guitar and I can play it and somebody will see it and say, Matt, that's amazing. And I'll say, what do you mean? I'm just playing the guitar. What are you talking about? It's nothing.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
in your purpose is easy, but it's more powerful. It reaches people in a deep way that is profound. Where you're living for yourself, it's more of a struggle. And people say they don't feel that profoundness. They say, what a selfish guy that one is. So talk about the difference, because you've experienced both of those, and how once you've discovered your purpose, how it changed that part of your life, the work part and the connection part with others.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Pause for a sec. It reminds me of the book by David Hawkins, Power versus Force. And
Great.
when one is lacking power, one requires a lot of force. And on the flying trapeze, it requires a lot of muscle and force to overcome gravity, to defy gravity, which will be Defying Gravity will be my second book title. And it took a lot of training and physical training and effort and energy and work to defy gravity on the flying trapeze and to make that happen. What I do now is effortless. It's completely effortless, and it might take a lot of time, it might take a lot of energy, but it comes from a limitless, boundless source. And it feels like power because it comes pouring out of me from the earth and from the sky through me. The conversations I have with others, I'm energized by, I'm rejuvenated by, I'm not depleted by. At the end of a trapeze workout, I would be exhausted.
Yeah.
At the end of a coaching session, a counseling session, a workshop that I facilitate, I am rejuvenated and enlightened and lifted. Yeah. So it doesn't feel like work. It's power. Real power.
That's it. The book is great, Power versus Force. The book he also recommended earlier, The Four Agreements, both great books. And that's it, folks. That's what this show is all about. We're here to encourage you to find that magic in your life. And it's available for each of us. That's what I believe. And it comes from this great big happy circle. It's giving your time and talents and treasures is a pathway for discovering your purpose. And when you find that purpose, hold on to it, because when you're giving from living in your purpose, that brings profound joy to your life and to the lives of those around you too. So it seems that giving leads to purpose and giving from purpose leads to joy. So to capture the entire exponential power of our happy formula, Colby, I've got to tweak it just a tiny bit more to power times purpose times giving equals happy to the third power. And that's really, truly, deeply happy. Does that sound about right to you?
That sounds spot on. Impeccable. Nailed
Good.
it. Hit the nail on the head 50 times over.
All right, let's wrap things up with a lightning round. I love the power of words and the capacity for great quotes to change lives. So I'm going to read a few of my favorites and ask you to tell us what they mean to you and give us the first thoughts that come into your mind, because we call this a lightning round. So here we go. From Helen Keller. Security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature, nor do the children of men as a whole experience it. Avoiding danger, she says, is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing.
Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. That's one of my banners. And the cave you are afraid to enter holds the treasure you seek. Push those boundaries.
Yeah. Helen Keller was a force of nature, I think. So this is from Robert Frost. He said, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
I memorized that poem when I was in 7th grade, and I can virtually recite the whole thing. My life has been a constant road less traveled, and that really has made all the difference. And choosing to live my own authentic path, regardless of how many people have traveled it before, that takes a lot of courage, and it brings so much joy and fulfillment.
And if you're listening, that is the key. The key is to break loose of what culture expects of you and to find your reason for being here. And when you do, folks, your whole world changes 100%. This is from Rabbi Hyman Schachtel. He says, happiness is not having what you want, but wanting what you have.
Amen. One of my favorite songs, Garth Brooks' Unanswered Prayers. Getting what you want is often the root of unhappiness, and it seems so counterintuitive. Wanting what you already have, being present. If you can't be happy with what you already have, nothing that you get will change that. If you are already happy with what you have, anything that you get will fit into that existence and that reality.
That's good. There's another, I read this quote on the back of a brewery, and it said, the days that my gratitude is higher than my expectations, those are really good days. Yeah. All right, this one's from Eric Weihenmeyer, the first blind person to summit Mount Everest. He said sometimes that fear of reaching out into the unknown paralyzes people to the point they decide not to reach out at all. Then he continues saying, for me, all the great things that have ever come to me have come through reaching out into that unknown.
I found a book a couple decades ago called Between Trapezes, written by Gail Blank. And of course, it grabbed me, the title, but it was about what she described. It was a personal development book about letting go of the trapeze that you're on with the faith that another bar will appear, even if you don't see it, and especially if you don't see it, and that there's an urgency in humanity to grab to the next bar and be in a hurry to get to it. But then upon reflection of our lives, the greatest moments are the moments when we're untethered, when we're in the air floating in between the trapezes, not knowing how, when, or why, but trusting that we will reach the next trapeze. The greatest growth and personal transformation and exhilaration lies in those moments in between that we're most terrified of.
That's it. That's really good, and that makes me think of something I've read about music, that it's the silence in between the notes that make the music, and that's kind of the same thing. And I think you're right. We're rushing when we feel anxious, we're rushing to have that taken care of instead of enjoying it and seeing where it goes. And what I found too, if you just think about it real quick, if you look back at your life, it's always been like this. So when you're in a downside, or when you don't have your hand on a trapeze, you always caught one in the past. So there's reason for you to start to train yourself to believe there's going to be one there for me. So, okay, this is our show anchor. It's from Goth. And he says, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it, because boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
Yeah, that which you manifest is before you. Beliefs are amazing things. Beliefs will find evidence to support them. There's a phrase I love repeating to myself: things are always working out for me. If I start with that belief that things are always working out for me, I will make that happen. If I believe the opposite, then I will make that happen as well. So the power of what we believe will happen and choosing a direction to focus on is the difference between success or failure. We will prove ourselves right.
Yep.
Whatever we decide is going to happen. We will go to great lengths to prove ourselves right. So we might as well choose to believe something that we would like to be proven right in, rather than the opposite.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Thank you. And now, folks, it's your chance to be a giver too. If you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Colby Balch, please share a little love with our fabulous broadcast team by giving what you can to WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. Colby, I love your adventurous heart and the way you embrace life with boundless curiosity and joy. And I admire your fearless commitment to personal growth and your gift for inspiring others to defy the gravity in their lives. And I'm super happy that you've shared your daring, caring, and encouraging spirit on our show today. Will you take a minute or two and share any parting remarks you'd like to leave with our audience?
The message that I would love to share with anyone, anywhere, is no matter what circumstances you're experiencing, no matter how heavy life might be, no matter how many things aren't working out in your favor, no matter what a struggle it feels like, there is a way out. And the way out is in.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be the scariest road to take. We'd like to look outward and find a solution out there. The way out is in.
Yep.
And though that may be a scary place to go, it is a journey that many have taken before us. And anyone who has taken that journey is so willing and lovingly, supportively eager to reach out a hand and help hold and support and encourage you along that way. So the first step is the hardest step. It's the most important one to take. And for me, oftentimes, that first step is simply saying the most scariest and bravest word in the English language: help.
Yeah. Good. Very good. Thank you, Colby. And I also want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guest stars like Colby and reaching folks just like you ready to create your own extraordinary lives. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to social media and all things Colby Balch. Find him, friend him, buy his books, rent his cabins, and or schedule an appointment to learn about the coaching, insights, and personal development support that he provides. You'll find all the links in our show notes. And from me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be really, truly, deeply happy too. So go to happyliving.com right now and click Unlock Here to begin unlocking the life you are meant to live, one of purpose, joy, and significance. And as you unlock your truth and your formula and your roadmap and your inspired life, please give some thought about what we can do together, you and me, to improve the happy of your life, one person at a time. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the Something Significant Show.